environmental matters. Every year, the Mammal Research Institute's whale unit goes on a mission to find out just how many southern right whales have come to the coast for calving season. They do this by counting each of them individually. These numbers can be an important indicator of the health of the species. Marine conservation photographer Jean Tresfon embarked on the first of these surveys for the 2021 season, which entails piloting a gyrocopter with a scientist on board while still managing some incredible shots of the whales and the beautiful southern Cape Coast. He's with us live now via Skype. Jean, sounds like a very exciting job that you can multitask so many things. How many whales did you spot on this first survey?
Morning. We found 358 southern right whales, and that's made up of a number of cow-calf pairs and then a few what we call unaccompanied adults. But the majority, obviously, cow-calf pairs.
How does that compare to previous years?
It's a little bit up on 2019 and 2020 figures, but way down on what we were hoping for and what we expect. The whales are, the numbers of whales that we cited over a number of years have been consistently increasing at about 7% per annum. And in the last 6 years, whale numbers have become extremely volatile. In the last 6 years, we've had both a record high and record lows, and it's very worrying.
What do you think that volatility in those numbers means, Jean?
Well, I'm not a whale scientist, but the whale scientists have identified that there are feeding issues in the southern oceans, and the whales are not managing to eat properly before they come here. And when the whales come to our coast, this is the southern right whale specifically, they don't eat for about 3 months while they give birth and nurse their calves. And they're arriving here a bit thinner than they should be and are not able to nurse fully the calves. And this is leading to an increase in the calving cycle timeline. And therefore, the whales numbers visiting our coast to give birth are very, very volatile.
And I suppose the change in the feeding areas where they come from could be attributed to climate change and the warming of the oceans.
Absolutely, and I was just interested to see that you were just talking about climate change just before this insert. So what the scientists suspect is that warming sea surface temperatures due to climate change is affecting the food supply for these whales, which is krill, and they're not able to find their food supply anymore, and they're changing their foraging strategy, and they're moving areas looking for new food, and they're not finding it. And this is extremely worrying because the whales are not giving birth as they should. They're either miscarrying or their calving cycle is changing, and this directly affects how many whales visit our coast, obviously.
I suppose right now someone watching might think, why should I care about the whales? And maybe if you don't care about the whales, you can care about the fact that they support a whole economy in that area where people are able to sight whales. Give us the names of those towns in that area and maybe sketch a picture of just how the whale sighting season boosts their economies.
Oh, absolutely. The places like Hermanus are world famous as being some of the best land-based whale watching sites in the world. In Cape Town or in the Western Cape, there are 3 main areas, nursery areas for southern right whales. There are Hermanus, and then Kopialeen at De Hoop Nature Reserve, and Saint Sebastian Bay at Cape Infanta. And these are the best areas to see whales in the entire coastline. The bulk of the whales are at Kopialeen in the De Hoop Nature Reserve, but most people know that Hermanus is probably the best cliff-top land-based whale watching place that's accessible to most. You've got a highly elevated coastline looking down on whales directly beneath you, and it's massive for tourism in these towns.
So what does the next step for you become? Are you done with the count, or is there still some more to go? And for those who want to visit those areas, what's the best time?
So the whale season is generally end of May, beginning of June to about October at the latest, and the peak season is around end August. For me, as a conservation photographer, I'm going to continue helping the scientists fly the whale survey. So we'll do another survey in the first week of September and do another count, and we continue to observe the numbers and see how they change. We're expecting next year to be a bumper year, in line with the new 4-year calving cycle. And this year, hopefully, numbers will increase a bit. Quite a few of the whales we saw were looking quite large, and they're single whales, and we suspect there are a few pregnant mothers that haven't given birth yet, and we're hoping we'll see an increase in numbers once they give birth.
Jean, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and for the work that you're doing in terms of whale conservation. It's, I had to ask him the question about the economy that's supported by this whale watching, tourism, hospitality. A lot of people's jobs are dependent on the whales coming to our coast.
I wanted to say to you that in all my years of living here, I've never been to see the flowers.
Oh.
And I've never been whale watching. Have you?
I've been whale watching, but I haven't been to see the flowers.
Well, maybe we should do one of the two. I know, but since we have to travel local, and we may as well make the best of it and go.
I think we all do. The entire country needs to support local tourism.
Well, it sounds like a good thing to do.